this morning? Anybody? No? It's all right. Well, if you did, then you might have thought that the title of today's talk is Cherish the Life, rather than the one that Reverend Kim announced. However, in view of the smoke-filled air this past week, in recognition of the smoke-filled air that affected our physical view, and not only made it difficult for us to see, but to breathe freely. Cherish the Life will be next Sunday's talk, and the title of today's talk is, as mentioned, Particles of Love. Viktor Frankl, the Jewish Austrian psychiatrist, I'm just going to call him a psychoanalyst, psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, who wrote the book Man's Search for Meaning, wrote, "Each of us carries a unique spark of the divine, and each of us is also an inseparable part of the web of life." We could say that the web of life is comprised of inseparable and interconnected particles of love, created by the presence of love itself. And each of us is a unique particle, immersed in and surrounded by infinite particles of love that we're inseparable from and interconnected with, even now. Now, unlike the toxic mixture that comprises the current wildfire smoke, that contains potentially harmful invisible ingredients, gases and particles and fine particulate matter, the particles of love within the web of life in which we live and move and truly breathe is pure, unadulterated, and unpolluted, with the unlimited potential to do good, to bring peace and joy and well-being and healing and beauty wherever they are, those particles of love. And they're everywhere life is, including right where we are. Because God is that love, and God is everywhere life is. Now, even though we can't see that beautiful, invisible presence, we can see its results, and we can feel its effects when we choose to look and feel. And as we've been talking about, for quite a while now, because really there's nothing else, no other topic for us to talk about here at LEC, God is all there is. No matter what appears to be expressing as ourself or someone else, or in world happenings and events, as unique sparks of the divine, we are each an individualized center in God consciousness, and God is only conscious of love because God is love. No matter where, no matter who, including me and you, no matter what anyone seems to say or do, or how the world appears to be, love is the only reality, the only livingness that is. Any conversation we may have in our head or with someone else about anything that doesn't reflect love as the only reality is simply a human point of view. And we all have one. And as Shakespeare said, therein lies the rub. Because human points of view often include particles of judgment and particulates of opinions that, like smoke pollution, affect our view of ourselves and one another and life. Shakespeare also said, when he wrote in All's Well That Ends Well, the web of our life is of a mingled yarn, good and ill together. We're in this life together, for better or worse, for good or ill. With our freedom of choice, we are absolutely free to give our attention to and have conversations about things that feel better or worse and cause us to feel good or ill. Whichever we choose to do. As we do, we affect our individual life and the world we share, for better or worse, for good or ill. Now, it's easy for us to get sucked into the diverse negative emotions that we have access to as human beings. Especially when we're in the habit of naming things good or bad or right or wrong or spiritual or material. When we're in the habit of separating things out. No one in this world is filled with happy only. In this world, happiness is a choice we make, that we often have to make throughout the day many times. That affects our individual life and also the world we share. The smoke from the wildfires that are burning so far away that the smoke is all that we can see. It's all that's visible to us, is a wonderful reminder that we're one life together, not just spiritually, but vibrationally and physically. Even though we can't see our oneness physically, we can see the results of it and feel the effects of it. As we talked about way back in June, the thoughts we give value to in our mind, which are the ones that we give our time and attention to, become vibrationally active in our mind and cause life to seem as it seems to us personally, individually. And yet, because every form, no matter what it is, has a vibration, the thoughts we give our time and attention to in our mind emit a vibration that others can feel. And that vibration attracts anyone and anything matching our vibrational focus into our experience of life, individually, collectively. Now, we've all likely had the experience where we were thinking of buying a new car, a specific type, specific color maybe, and it seems like the more that we gave our time and attention to that thought in our mind, we saw that car everywhere around us. in every parking lot, along the roads. They were everywhere. In this physical world where we and everything else appear in forms that look separate from other forms, it's easy for us to believe that we have a separate mind that is inside our skull, and it's private. And that our judgments and our opinions don't affect the one life we share because they don't go anywhere. But where did all those cars come from? If the whole universe is aware of the vibration we're emitting, then every particle within it must be aware as well. Because we don't see the vibration of our thoughts beam from our head, it's easy to forget that we emit a vibration that goes out into this web of life we share. It's invisible, but it's there. And though in truth we're each a unique spark of the divine, and truly, in truth, nothing else, in our physical expression and interaction with each other and this world, we are a mingled yarn of both good and ill together. Our thinking affects any being mentally or emotionally vibing where we are along that mingled yarn, high or low. Which is to say, anyone who has judgments and opinions about the same thing we do has a like vibration about that subject. Now, we like to hang out with people that, as we like to say, are of like mind, which is to say people who agree with us, because we feel in harmony with those people. But when we actively disagree and even argue with someone about a certain subject, we're still in vibrational harmony, just on different sides of the same vibrating coin. John Muir wrote, "When we try to pick out anything by itself, we find it hitched to everything else in the universe." We're hitched to each other and everything else in this universe, not only spiritually, but vibrationally and physically. We can't get away from each other. This world is one world, but we can decide who we want to be and how we want to interact with each other and this earth. What we think about ourselves and others and this earth and all that lives upon it makes a difference in how we feel about and how we treat ourselves and others and this earth and all that live upon it. There's a song by Billy Joel called "We Didn't Start the Fire," and maybe you've heard it. But it begins with the naming of people and events and happenings and inventions in the news, probably from the days of Harry Truman to around the Afghan War. And The chorus goes like this: we didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire. No, we didn't light it, but we tried to fight it. And just recently, only this past couple of weeks, an American rock band called Fall Out Boy, oh, I'm hip, released a new version with lyrics that include more current events, more current people in the news. And they changed one other thing. They changed "we tried to fight it" to "we're trying to fight it." But a change in wording doesn't change the uselessness and harmfulness that comes when we try to fight against anything or anyone. In this world that seems so full of differences and intolerance and divisiveness, even though there can't be a right side in the oneness, we've come to believe that we must take a side just the same, that feels right to us, against the side that seems wrong to us. We think we don't have a choice but to respond to any world event or personal situation by trying to find out who's to blame, who and what started the fire, and then fight against whatever and whomever with the same negative vibrational energy that it represents to us. We look at our own negative emotional energy as righteous, especially when whatever is going on seems to be affecting us personally, not just affecting our peace of mind, but the very air we breathe. We may not be the one who started the fire, but we are the ones who stoke it and keep it burning through the vibrational power of our mind to bring into this physical environment we share whatever we focus on and give our energy to. When we fight against whatever and whomever, whether it's a fight against a disease or a person or a group or some system in the world, we're affirming with every battle cry that God is not all there is. When we challenge the forms of the world, it causes us to believe that there's God and something else outside of us that we must fight against. And though this world, when we're in it, that fight so often looks noble. But that depends on which side of the coin we're looking from. It's important for us to remember, to remind ourselves over and over again that we're not separate from what we see and believe as reality. In this world of this and that contrast, we're not here to challenge the world. We're here to challenge ourselves. We read in the book of Romans, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil by good. We're here amongst all this variety with the freedom of choice to do good. Not by fighting against the world or doing good in the world against something in the world, but by discovering the good within ourselves, the more good within us that's untouched and unchanged by this world, and expressing it in our every thought and word and action. Whether we're challenged through an illness or an unhappy relationship or a lack of financial abundance or a volatile world, we can expand our awareness of our power and our goodness and our love through seeming adversity. And in the process, affect the world with the good we discover. Because we emit it everywhere we are, to everything that is, even if we stay at home. Love is the answer every time. Love is the solution. But solutions don't exist in the same vibration as the problems, no matter how intensely we fight the problem or fight with each other about the problem, or how right we feel about the side of the coin we've chosen. We are particles of infinite consciousness. And that infinite consciousness is love. Love being conscious of love. Deep within us, we have the intrinsic knowing that we are one with all that lives, and that all that lives within our consciousness. In the Way of the Heart, we read, life wants to breathe through you as magically and powerfully as it breathes through a thunderstorm or the leaf on a tree or the radiance in a newborn baby's eyes. That life is what you are. That life is the presence of God's love. We have been breathed into life by love itself. So, as this 4th of July approaches, let us remember our freedom to overcome the unwanted by being the presence of what is wanted. We are particles of love, as magical and powerful as the universe itself. Let us celebrate our inseparable interconnection with each other and all life, and choose to love unconditionally. Namaste. All right. You know, it's a good one when I move myself. All right. No, I'm pretty easily moved, actually. Okay, well, this is the time of our service when we get to say thank you out loud. Thank you. Out loud. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being here this morning. You didn't have to be. God doesn't care. But you're here anyway. And we do care. We care a lot that you're here. We love that you care. And thank you for being with us live stream, if that's where you are, or thank you for being with us whenever you are. Because the more we consider life in all its beauty and all its love and all its grace. The more of us that do that, the more we transform the world we see. And so, thank you for your financial support. I know everyone here supports us financially. Thank you, wherever you are, for supporting us financially. And if you're new this morning, or every time our treasurer talks, you go grab a cup of coffee, stay tuned, because she has something to say. She's going to let you know just how you can financially support us. Dr. Jamie Phillips.
Hey, everybody's out there getting coffee. Come on back. I got a story. Just this morning, hey, how's it going, kiddo? I haven't seen you for a while. I was thinking about the Higgs boson particle, because I knew you were doing particles of love, and that's called the God particle. And it was discovered was just theorized back then, but in 2012, in CERN, they actually did an experiment and proved the God particle. And as I was reading on Google, you get all these other stories. I saw Stephen Hawking's, and I clicked on Stephen Hawking's, and his last words were that the Higgs boson particle was going to destroy the universe, and his last words were, there was no God. I didn't know that until I was just reading it. I don't know if Google's right, but those were his last words according to Google, and I thought, how could he say that? What's he doing? And I just started laughing at myself, like God needs a defense. Hello? So then I could just get on with my day and have fun. So anyway, particles of love, particles of God.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, now back to my mission. How you can donate to the Life Enrichment Center. If you're on Facebook right now, you can go to facebook.com/Life Enrichment Center. If you're there right now, you can just hit the donate button. Sometimes the donate button's been a little finicky for us, though. So if you can't get on there, you can go to our website, lecflint.com, and hit the donate button and donate via our website. You can donate via PayPal, and our email address for PayPal is lec2512@gmail.com. Or you can send a check to our P.O. Box, Life Enrichment Center, P.O. Box 321294, Flint, Michigan, 48532. And here in the sanctuary, we're going to be taking an offertory while we listen to Marcia Allen, Nick Calandro, and Pat Cronley singing I Am Blessed. And then Reverend Stephanie will be back for a gratitude prayer. Thank you.